Hey guys, it's great seeing you again. I just got back from Texas Pinball Festival earlier this week, and I've been spending the most of the week trying to consolidate all the photos, all the video off the action camera that I took, the video off this camera, off my phone. I've got so much video and stuff to put together. It's going to be a project that's going to take a little while, so please be patient. And I just got done shooting the review for Jurassic Park finally, and that's down the barrel, and that's got to get put together over the next couple days. Also, I got a quick update for the channel, so if you guys want to hear that, stick around towards the end of the video if you don't care. Otherwise, here's my spiel about what's going on with PlayStation and PlayStation Plus. So when it comes to these paid tier subscription services, my opinion is kind of middle of the road. I don't hate it. I don't necessarily like it. Now, the one thing I do hate about all these tiers, I will absolutely tell you, is the idea that you have to pay for at least the base tier to get access to your friends to play online. This is to me absurdly egregious on the Nintendo Switch, where there is no dedicated server as far as I know on any of their games, and it's just peer-to-peer from console to console, meaning your console's talking to theirs. I'm already paying for an internet bill. For me, this is like, it comes off to me as like almost like ransomware. You know, like ransomware you get on like a machine, you have to pay a certain amount of money to get access to that information again. And this is just like, it doesn't matter who it is or who it's coming from, Nintendo, Microsoft, or Sony. It feels like they are blocking me from having a good time playing with my friends, even though I've paid for my internet bill. So there's like a ransom fee there. But these services have thankfully evolved over the years. Instead of it just being that, you're just paying just to play with your friends. Added things like cloud saves, and now we're starting to see, we started a little bit like around the PS3 generation where they started offering, you know, on Xbox Live Gold and PlayStation Plus. They really started PlayStation Plus by offering a few games. The online was free at first. I think they should have stayed that way. I think that's the way it should have stayed in the first place. And for Nintendo's first tier, like basic, like Nintendo Online, I think really Nintendo with the tiered paid stuff should be for the games themselves and leave the online free. I think that's the best value for families and stuff. I don't know what kind of overhead they have to pay, but I would like to see a reason why we have to pay this like little bit. But at least with Nintendo, it's like $20 a year to play online. So it's like the least egregious or least expensive out of all the other guys. And you know, at least you're getting like some games, Nintendo, you're getting Nintendo and Super Nintendo stuff. I don't like the expansion pack, to be honest with you. I don't think you get enough. You get a couple DLCs. I'm sorry, I didn't think the N64 was as good as the Super Nintendo. So for me, it's not as much of a bonus. The Sega Genesis stuff is kind of cool, but that extra cost of $50 more just does not really justify it to me. You know, like already, like if you look at the expansion pass of Mario and Animal Crossing, that's basically what you paid for. You know, I don't know. I don't like it. And then when it comes to Game Pass, at least with Game Pass, they're giving you some new games, you know, with the service. I still don't like that online's blocked. You have to have it to even have online. I think that sucks. If Microsoft was smart, finally get rid of the Xbox Live Gold stuff and just make it free, guys. You're going to make your money off the games. Don't worry about the online shit. So currently, Microsoft has Game Pass for PC and console, and both of those are $10 with just Game Pass by itself. If you want to roll Xbox Live in and PC and game streaming and all that stuff, that's $15 a month, and that's actually what I pay. My point of view is I kind of look at it like renting, and I actually don't even look at my Xbox very much like a console. I look at it as more like a cable box which games stream forth from, if that makes sense. So I don't have the same reverence for this machine as I once did, because I don't know, I don't actually really feel like I own anything on it, and that's a big deal to me. Where with Nintendo, I could easily feel that way if I didn't already own a lot of those games. I have had multiple opportunities throughout the years to own those games and do own a lot of those games. So, you know, where the Nintendo stuff comes in a little bit more, and like the cool factor is stuff from like Japan that I couldn't get access to, or really rare games that would be really expensive to buy nowadays and you almost never see on anything. And so now PlayStation's in the fight. So now they still have what they're calling PlayStation Plus Essential, which is 2 games a month. You get like online, you get cloud saves, that stuff, right? And I think they do like throw in like deals and stuff like that too. Then you have what's called PlayStation Extra, which is 400 games, and it's games like God of War, Spider-Man, Miles Morales, stuff like that, but nothing actually brand new. So Sony's already said that they're not going to be putting new games like Microsoft's been doing on Game Pass day one. It's you, if you want that game right away, you're gonna have to pay the full 60, actually $70 now for that game. And I don't really see the point. Like, I'm really kind of curious, like, how long is it going to be before these new games cycle over? Like, is there any real value in buying games anymore, or is it just okay to wait? Because the majority of stuff that Sony releases isn't even online multiplayer. It's story-based, and that would maybe explain why they bought Bungie, and they're trying to go to, like, a more online-based kind of thing, because if they do that, then there's more incentive to be there day one. And I don't know. I can't really, I respect their hustle in a weird way, but it's not where I want gaming to go from my point of view. Okay, so the one thing that Sony's liked to do in the past is they charge you more for monthly, and then if you get an annual, like a yearly thing, they'll charge you less. So like right now, like PlayStation Plus, it's like $9, actually $10 a month that they do the $9.99 thing. It's $10 a month just for 1 month, or if you get a year, then it comes out to $5 a month. They're doing the same thing this time, so for extra, it's going to be $14.99 a month, which, okay, and yearly, it's going to be $100. Now there's Premium, and Premium basically adds that PlayStation Now catalog, a lot of the older like PS1, PS2, PS3 games and that stuff. And all the PS3 games are unfortunately streamed to your device. And I get it to a certain point because it is the, no pun intended, or no, I have reasons why I chose my name. Anyways, it is the cell processor inside of the PlayStation 3. That thing is convoluted and complex and not easy to emulate for. However, the PlayStation 5 does have the horsepower to most likely run an emulation of the PS3, at least for a lot of games. And for the price that they're asking here for what they're calling Premium, $17.99 a month, or $120 a year, same as like Game Pass Ultimate. It's cool to have a catalog of all those old games, but at the same time, if you're not even going to attempt to emulate and you're only going to try to stream PS3 games, because some of the best PlayStation games are on PS3, like what the hell? Like what's the point? Like put some work into it. I know you guys have R&D. If you're going to try to like make this thing like worth my while to pay money, then give me a reason for it. Not only that, like, do the older games run at, like, 4K? Do they run at 60 or 120 frames a second? Do they have HDR, like the Xbox? At least with the Xbox, they're trying, I don't really feel like Sony's trying that hard here for that price point, and I don't think it really justifies the price point. Xbox is also doing old classic games on Game Pass. At least with the Series X having a disk drive, there's still an option for me to go into the store and find something like, well, that's the back of the box, to find something like Splinter Cell, like Conviction or something like that, cheaper than I can find it on the Microsoft Store, and actually load the disc in and download it. But let's not kid ourselves. These subscription services, these things that are happening, the reason they're happening is ultimately so the platform holders can have control, and you really don't own anything anymore. And that's why people are screaming at the top of their lungs. It's like renting. If it was in tandem, if we knew it was always going to be in tandem with actually owning games, I'd be okay with that. Like back in the day when I was a kid, we used to rent NES and Super Nintendo games. I would probably say we probably spent more money than you would annually on one of these services. And that's a hell of a deal for that. But I really have a lot of concerns about this being all there is eventually, because we already have, keep in mind, 2 consoles this generation that don't have disk drives in them. And the only way you can get stuff is through online. And then in the case of the Xbox, the current series games, you can't even play them unless it can dial home. And, as good as like everybody likes to say Nintendo is about that, the reason the Nintendo Switch allows for so much playability offline is, first, it's a portable, and it's the mentality in Japan. People don't stay at home, and still, as good as like the cell networks and stuff are there all the time, they can't guarantee that people are going to be in range of internet. But if you still look at it at the end of the day, if you take your Nintendo Switch and don't have it online, those certain Nintendo games, those like Nintendo Online games, it's going to do a check one day. I think it's like after 7 days or something like that, and it's not going to work anymore. So it's always going to look for that online connection for those to work. And with what the service is, that makes sense. I understand that for subscription games, for games that you actually buy on disc or cart, I'm never going to be down with that. And the fact that the Xbox is already doing that is kind of a problem. I guess my point is this is kind of exciting because if I do get a PlayStation, there's a way for me to play a lot of these older games I didn't play on a PS4 because I didn't have a PS4. And a way to do it relatively cheaply because I could probably knock most of the games I want to play out within a couple months. And that's about it. You gotta remember, the devil's in the details. Especially corporations. Like, I love Nintendo games. I love playing Nintendo games. I always am aware that Nintendo's a company out there to make a profit. They are not my friend. Sony is not your friend. Microsoft and Xbox are not your friend. Keep that in mind. They're a company. They're out there to make money. And the only reason they're doing something like this is not really for your benefit, but because it stands to make them more money. And it keeps the control of the software and everything within their grasp, if that makes sense. So anyways, that's all I have to say about this. Like I said, I'm kind of middle of the road. I'm actually excited to have this, and if one day I can actually find a PlayStation, because it's been out for a year and a half now, and I still haven't seen one. I've not seen one in the store, and I refuse to pay scalper prices. So one day, guys, one day. And if I'm going to be honest, it'll probably be a digital one, because I don't really need another Blu-ray player, and when it comes to Sony, there's not that many games I really actually want to play, just a couple here and there. Okay, last little bit here, channel update. So a couple things are happening. So when I was in Texas, it was mostly just Texas Pinball Festival, and that's it. I didn't really get to do much else, but I did travel. It was a lot of fun. So I'm going to start a travel channel. It's completely different from video games. It's going to be called Cell Travels, just that simple. And there's no real schedule, nothing to it. When I go out on like certain hikes in a really nice, beautiful place, I check places out in Seattle in the local area, or I go other places. I'm going to be putting content on there, but it's going to be on my pace, on my time. I'm not beholden to anybody's schedule on that. With this channel, eventually, I'm going to go to a schedule. My problem I've been wanting to do this since January, by the way. I've wanted to start off this year running. My problem with that was my PC, or I should say my Mac computer. I had a Mac Air that I wanted to start out with because I always knew I wanted to upgrade to something else. That M1 processor in those Macs is killer. It can edit like nobody's business, but it was still just a little bit lacking because a lot of the stuff that I try to do, like color grading and stuff, it needs to go to ProRes. Then it kind of slows it down and takes forever to render. It's not really forever. It was as fast as my old machine. But the problem was I got the 512 SSD on it. And you can't really when you start doing these bigger projects, these bigger editing projects and stuff, you can't have multiple projects on the machine without swapping the data out, and you have to go back through and restore it and all this other stuff, and it's a mess. So in the interest of making render times faster, make color grading a little bit easier, be able to go to these other socials. I'm also on TikTok now, so at Cell Processing, I don't have anything up on there, but I'm going to give it a shot. So far, all we've seen is TNA being new on there. It's like, oh, you're a dude, you probably like boobs. I'm like, yeah, they're great, but I just don't want them in my face all the time. Can you just show me video games and stuff? I put it on there as a thing. But anyways, so this is my new 16-inch MacBook. It's got the M1 Pro in it. I figured that's all I really honestly need. And this has got enough SSD storage on it now that I can do 2 or 3 projects simultaneously on this thing and not have to go to another drive or another SSD or some other bullshit like that. So the hope is we're going to start having 2 to 3 videos a week, and I'm going to be able to start locking down on which day is a good day to lock down a date for a video. So that's how it's going to go. And in the future, I have plans to start up a podcast. I'm trying to figure out what kind of friends and stuff I want to invite into it, because I want it to be mostly gaming-centric podcast that's a little bit more long-form than these videos are. So that's pretty much the update on the channel. When I'm ready to announce what solid days and times that I'm going to have videos start going live, I'll let you guys know. But I'm going to get these next 2 rather large videos out, and then just kind of go with it for a couple of weeks to see what the flow is, what it is in my life, what do I have to work around to get these things out. So anyways, love you guys. Thank you so very much. If you know what to do, subscribe, all that fun stuff. And let me know what you think about these tiered services, pay subscription, paid tier services down below, all right? Anyways, my brain's kind of fried. It's been a long week, and my back's not working so great. Anyways, poor me. Later.